Hey guys, welcome to Stoofamism. Today, I wanted to have a real deep conversation, one that means a lot to me. In fact, I want to talk to you the same way I talk to my son. So I sat him down on the other side of the camera. Ever feel like your job is running your life? You wake up, throw on your company issued uniform, or at least the unspoken dress code, repeat the corporate mantra, we're a family here, and log in like a devoted disciple. You don't question it, you don't resist, until one day you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and think, who even am I anymore? So real talk, could some workplaces actually be operating more like cults than companies? Today, we're peeling back the layers on the red flags hiding in plain sight. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to spot them before they take over your life. And if you're already in too deep, don't worry, I've got you covered on how we can break free. So when did corporations go from just doing business to running the world? Let's take it way back. Ever heard of the East India Company? Founded in 1599. This wasn't just some little trading outfit. It was a business that waged wars, toppled governments, and straight up looted entire economies. By 1765, they were literally taxing India's wealthiest provinces. Imagine Amazon not just making money, but also deciding what you owe in taxes. Oh, and when they financially crashed, the British government bailed them out. Probably the first ever case of a corporation being deemed too big to fail. The scary part? This playbook is still in use in today's mega corporations. They aren't sending armies into battle, but they're influencing governments, shaping policies, and evading accountability at every turn. There's an old saying, corporations have neither bodies to be punished nor souls to be condemned, so therefore, they do as they like. And boy, do they. When does a close-knit workplace go from supportive to controlling? We've all seen it. Tech startup glorifying hustle culture, pushing work hard, play hard until work is your entire identity. Suddenly your team spirit starts feeling more like blind obedience. Is that free lunch and ping pong table a perk or a leash? At what point do we stop being employees and start becoming followers? Micromanagement is like that one friend who insists on helping, but actually just makes everything so much worse. On the surface, it looks like attention to detail, but in reality, it's a control freak's dream, hovering over every task, demanding updates every 5 minutes, making sure nothing moves without their saying so. Does that sound familiar? The paradox is that most micromanagers think they're being helpful. They just want things done the right way. But their actions scream, I don't trust you, and nothing kills motivation faster than that. Here's the harsh truth. Micromanagement isn't just annoying, it's bad business. Companies bleed trillions every year because of poor management. Productivity soars when employees aren't constantly interrupted. Creativity flourishes when people have the freedom to make decisions. And let's be real, most middle managers, they're just there to justify their own existence. When workers feel trusted and valued, they stick around. When they're micromanaged, they burn out, check out, or walk out. If you've ever sat through a pointless meeting thinking, this could have been an email, you're not crazy. And if your boss can't let go of control, ask yourself, are they leading or just terrified of becoming irrelevant? The alternative, trust and results. The best leaders understand a fundamental truth. Growth comes from trust, not control. A good manager doesn't micromanage. They provide tools, training, and incentives for success. Then step back and let their team deliver. Some of the most effective businesses today operate with minimal management, focused instead on results. Employees don't need someone breathing down their neck. They need clear goals and resources to succeed, and the autonomy to know their work. When that happens, companies don't just survive, they thrive. Could a shift towards results-driven leadership rather than control-based oversight be the answer? One of the biggest problems in corporate culture, the way companies handle hiring and promotions. In a perfect world, the most skilled and capable people would rise to the top. But in reality, bureaucracy, rigid hiring structures, and corporate policies often push talent aside in favor of compliance and box checking. The result, qualified individuals get overlooked. Top talent leaves to forge their own path, and mediocrity thrives while innovation stalls. Leadership experts break employees into 3 categories. The overachievers, the ones setting the standard, the aspirers, hardworking, high-potential employees on their way up trying to be like the achievers, and the underperformers, or the losers. Those are constantly falling short and keeping the team down. In a well-run company, leadership invests in aspirers and lets go of the underperformers to keep things moving. But in most corporations, middle management, unsure of their real role, spend more time micromanaging low performers instead of developing top talent. This stalls progress, kills morale, and chokes innovation. And that's why the best employees don't wait to be recognized, they leave to create their own success. So is it just a toxic work environment, or is it a cult? Let's examine the signs more closely. Picture this. You walk into the office and everyone looks the same, talks the same, and thinks the same. Sound like a sci-fi dystopia? It's more common than you think. One of the biggest red flags in corporate culture is when companies don't just encourage alignment, they demand it. It's not about shared values, it's about forced conformity. You surrender your identity and suddenly you're just another cog in the machine. This could manifest in dress codes, strict adherence to company policies, or even how you're expected to communicate with colleagues. It gets dangerous here. Businesses promote high performers without measuring trust. This is how toxic leaders climb the ranks. The Navy SEALs figured this out a long time ago. When they were building SEAL Team 6, they didn't just look for the top performers, they prioritized high trust individuals over high performance, low trust individuals because the latter destroy the team from within. In corporate environments, we do the opposite. We reward results at any cost, even if that cost is a toxic leader who undermines trust, stifles individuality, and creates an environment where people are afraid to speak up. And guess what? The entire system collapses in the long run. That's why forced conformity is a red flag. A thriving workplace doesn't demand uniformity, it values trust, psychological safety, the belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas or questions or concerns or mistakes, and individual contributions. But at the end of the day, most successful organizations aren't built on fear, they're built on trust. Then there's work-life balance, or more accurately, the lack of one. When your boss expects you to be available 24/7, or your workload is so intense that taking a vacation feels like a betrayal, it's not dedication, it's manipulation. The company doesn't value you, it values what you can produce. And it gets worse. Every move you make is tracked, and every decision needs approval. Suddenly, the company owns not just your time, but your freedom. The problem with work-life balance is that it implies a constant trade-off, as if work and life are opposing forces. But accurate fulfillment comes from work-life harmony, where both flow together rather than compete. When you're happy at home, you bring energy to work, and when your work is fulfilling, that energy carries over into your personal life. And the key is to control over your time. If you need a run at 4 p.m., take it. If inspiration strikes on a Saturday, embrace it. When companies deny this flexibility, they create burnout machines instead of thriving employees. Andy Sumner introduced duvet days in 1997, allowing employees to take off a day with no excuse needed. Just a simple call saying, I'm taking the day. The policy acknowledged that unplanned breaks happen anyway, and in turn boosted morale and productivity by fostering trust and flexibility. Because when your job demands everything from you, you're not an employee, you're a resource being extracted. But what happens when you push back? Silence, or worse, punishment. Dissenters aren't just ignored, they're strategically erased. Labeling them not a team player or not a cultural fit, they slowly become ghosts, excluded from key meetings, left out of decisions, or their Chick-fil-A order gets forgotten. Or worse, subtly nudged towards the exit. Ever question a process, a policy, or heaven forbid a leader? Watch how fast the room tenses up. Sideways glances, nervous chuckles, and awkward subject change. It's not just disagreement, it's heresy. And in a place like this, heretics don't last long. Ever worked somewhere with a revolving door of employees? That's not just turnover, that's deliberate. That's weeding out non-believers. The ones who stay either buy in entirely or learn to shut up and play along. And then slowly it happens. The outside world disappears, friends outside the company fading. Different perspectives are unwelcome, and every conversation circles back to the company, its mission and its values. You don't just work there, you live in their bubble. Now, ask yourself, how many mandatory team building retreats, forced fun social events, and over-the-top appreciation parties do you need before it clicks? This isn't just company culture, it's indoctrination. And it's smacking you right in the face. Next is dishonesty is rewarded. In the workplace, in an ideal world, honesty would be celebrated, distinguishing employees as trustworthy and reliable. But in reality, many workplaces quietly reward dishonesty while punishing those who speak the truth. I've witnessed this firsthand. A close friend of mine once had to fire a great employee, not for incompetence or theft, but because he told the truth. This employee accidentally damaged company property, and though he took responsibility, he didn't report it immediately. Had he lied or kept quiet, he would have kept his job. Instead, his honesty cost him everything. I've also seen how dishonesty is woven into corporate culture in more subtle ways. Management often pushes employees to sell products using scripted key statements. Phrases many salespeople don't even fully understand, or maybe even the managers don't. When I questioned this, a coworker shrugged and said, "I'm not lying, so I don't feel bad. I'm just saying what they tell me to say." The unspoken message, if you don't question the truth, you can justify anything. And then there's my own experience, of course. After being gaslighted and ignored by a superior, I asked HR for help. His response, a preemptive strike. He told HR I'd used profanity during a personal phone call, which was customary on our sales team, even in open meetings. But when I was asked, I didn't deny it. Why would I? It was part of the culture. But because I chose honesty instead of spinning a story, I was let go. My mistake wasn't in my behavior, but my refusal to lie. These experiences highlight a troubling reality in today's workplaces. Honesty is not always the best policy if you want to keep your job. Integrity is often sacrificed for the sake of appearances, and those who play the game, bending the truth or staying silent when they should speak, are the ones who thrive. It's a system that doesn't just tolerate dishonesty, it actively encourages it. It's also a major red flag for cult-like environments. Here's how dishonesty plays into cult-like environments. False promises. You're sold a dream, whether it's a career advancement, financial success, or a family-like culture, but the reality always falls short. Withholding information. Crucial details about company finances, leadership decisions, or ethical concerns are hidden or distorted. The truth is treated as a privilege, not as a right. And of course, gaslighting. If you notice inconsistencies and begin questioning things, you're made to feel like the problem you misunderstood. You're told to trust the process. It's all in your head. Moving the goalposts, rules, expectations, and rewards are always changing. You're constantly chasing an ever-shifting standard which ensures you stay dependent and compliant. The narrative control. The organization controls the story. If someone leaves or speaks out, they're painted as disloyal or bitter. The official narrative, they weren't a good fit. Bottom line, a culture built on dishonesty isn't just toxic, it's dangerous. When the truth becomes whatever they say, you stop thinking for yourself. And that's precisely what they want. This isn't just theory. For example, employees were expected to work 80-hour weeks to prove commitment, with a strict dress code and social hierarchy. If you left, you were labeled a traitor. Another employee was pressured to get a company tattoo as a loyalty symbol, but when she refused, she was ostracized and eventually fired. A tattoo for a job? Let that sink in. But let's get even more specific. Here are a few real-world examples of corporations that you may have heard of that have cult-like dynamics. Apple, the cult of the founder. Under Steve Jobs, Apple has often been described as a cult of personality. Jobs' vision was so powerful that it shaped the company's products and culture. Employees were expected to follow his ideas almost religiously, sometimes disregarding dissent or different viewpoints. Those who succeeded in this culture were seen as loyal and driven, while anyone who didn't conform was pushed out or labeled as not innovative enough. Cult-like elements: a strong, almost worship leader, strict loyalty to the company's vision, and an us versus them mentality regarding competitors. Or Amazon, the unquestionable efficiency machine. A situation, Amazon has been known for its intense work culture, especially in its warehouses. Employees are constantly pushed to meet high quotas, and those who fail to meet quotas and targets are often fired or disciplined. Workers are also discouraged from discussing concerns about working conditions, as there is an implicit expectation that questioning the system is a sign of weakness. A relentless focus on productivity, a top-down management style that discourages questioning, and a high-pressure environment that demands a complete commitment to the company's mission, that's cult-like. Or how about Google, the don't be evil culture? Google has often been seen as a company with unique culture focused on employee satisfaction, with perks like free food, on-site gyms, and a work-life balance ethos. However, this culture can also have cult-like elements. Employees are expected to fully embrace the company's mission and ethics, and there is often a high peer pressure to conform. Those who question Google's business practices, such as its involvement in controversial projects like military contracts or data privacy concerns, sometimes feel marginalized. A strong, almost religious belief in the company's mission, intense peer pressure to conform, and an overarching "we know what's best for you" mentality, that's cult-like. Or how about Walmart, with the employee surveillance and control situation? Walmart has faced criticism for its treatment of its employees, with some referring to it as a cult-like environment due to the level of control over companies exerts. Employees are expected to comply with rigid rules, and the company uses surveillance to monitor their every move. In some cases, employees are pressured to maintain a facade of enthusiasm and loyalty to the company, even when they disagree with the policies or working conditions. Surveillance, a lack of individual autonomy, and the enforcement of a single company narrative that employees are expected to adhere to sounds pretty cult-like to me too. These are examples that show you how corporate cultures can sometimes mirror cult-like behaviors. While some of these companies may have begun with good intentions, the result is often an environment where employees feel pressured to conform or risk being outed. Cult-like workplaces aren't just isolated issues, but symptoms of something much bigger. Corporations today have more power, influence, and control than many governments. Think about it. Their GDPs outmatch entire countries. They tackle crisis, shape social policies, and make decisions that impact millions of lives. But here's the problem. We didn't elect the CEOs. Their priorities are profit-driven, not people-driven. If a government exerted this level of influence over its citizens, we call it authoritarian. But when a corporation does it, we call it company culture. This is why recognizing the red flags in our workplaces matters. The issue isn't just toxic jobs, it's unchecked power. So how do we fix this? We talk a lot about toxic corporate culture, but what about solutions? Here's what companies should be doing instead. Separation plans instead of PIPs, Instead of deceitful performance improvement plans, PIPs that are often just slow motion firings, companies should implement separation plans. Give employees a transparent exit strategy, a set period to find a new job while still employed, with full pay and benefits. Let them close deals and pay the commissions if they have deals in progress. Why? Because most PIPs have a predetermined outcome, so let's just stop gaslighting employees, thinking they have a chance when they don't. Unlimited PTO needs to go. It sounds great, right? But it's not. It's a psychological trick that makes employees take less time off out of guilt or uncertainty. Companies should return to structured, mandatory vacation policies, so employees are actually rested and they don't have to have a fear. Corporate culture that needs to be canceled in 2025, no more micromanagement, no more mandatory return to office, no more glorifying overworking, no more expecting staff to be available 24/7, no more meetings that could have been a dang email, no more unsympathetic layoffs, no more ghosting candidates, no more viewing employment gaps as red flags, no more than 3 rounds of job interviews. Please. No more one-on-one meetings without some sort of a purpose behind it. And no more tolerating workplace harassment or bullying. Exit interviews, they should be mandatory so companies can actually learn from the turnover. Companies that fail to address these problems won't just lose employees, they'll lose an entire reputation. Now, I've seen it all firsthand over the years. I've worked for major companies in communications, tech, and other industries. Despite the variety, I've noticed a common theme in the corporate world: a cult-like atmosphere. Corporate training programs are often touted as award-winning, but they're primarily outdated and disconnected from the real-world applications. They tend to be more about indoctrinating you into the system than preparing you for the job, and you drink water from a fire hydrant while the senior employees watch it like a gang initiation. So the real issue, though, is management. Often it feels like managers exist only because someone created the role, not because it's necessary. They micromanage and hold endless meetings on basic tasks, wasting time rather than adding value. Corporate culture tends to ignore the most qualified employees in favor of diversity quotas and corporate politics, or it just hires employees who outlast their alternatives, which leads to inefficiency. Most of the time, these leadership positions are gifted to individuals who fail to actually lead correctly. In many corporations, the losers get promoted, providing managers with something to manage, even though they hold the company back. Meanwhile, many aspirers, those who work hard and have the potential to succeed, end up leaving, disillusioned by the lack of opportunity and recognition. Ultimately, the corporate world often prioritizes maintaining appearances over rewarding true merit. And my biggest revelation here is that there's a harsh truth. It's not just the companies, it's us. We're complicit. We let this happen. We convince ourselves it's normal. And just like soldiers blindly following orders, we trade our freedom for the illusion of security, ignore the manipulation, and tell ourselves this is just how the industry works. But let's be clear. That's the same excuse used by those who stood by in silence following orders without question. And it's time we realize we're not following orders for the greater good. We're following a lie. So where do we go from here? If corporations are shaping more of our lives than ever, what role do we play in questioning and reshaping workplace culture? Are we willing to ask the hard question? And more importantly, are we ready to demand better? If today's video opened your eyes even just a little bit, then it's time to ask some questions. Don't just look for cult-like workplaces, look at yourself. Are you stuck in a loyalty circle that's costing you who you are? Comment below if you ever experienced any of this type of work culture, and let's discuss how we can break free. And if you want to spot these red flags before you get trapped, check out my next video, because the best way to avoid a cult is to recognize one before you're in too deep. Thanks for watching. Sucks, but it's gonna have to work. On the surface, it looks like attention to detail, but in reality, it's a control freak dream. They thrive, baby. If corporations are shaping more of our lives than ever, what role do we play in questioning and reshaping workplace culture? And mediocrity thrives while innovation just having this thing to keep things moving.